My dear ones, let us close our eyes for just a minute and go into this peace. And I would ask that you feel your body. Just stop thinking and start feeling. Just feel your body. Not intellectually, just experientially. Feel your body. Your body is not real. Your body is an experience. Let that experience be real for you. Feel your body. Experience it. And as you're experiencing it, this is the now. This is the being here now. This is what it means to be in the now. You can come back here anytime. And you make a commitment to yourself right now while you're in this space to come here as often as possible every day. Everything else, as we're going to talk about today, is illusion. This is the only reality. This is your only reality. Thank you. Well, I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to do this a little bit differently because there's so few of us, we have the ability to be a little bit more flexible. As I talk about these videos and what I saw in the videos, I'd like for you to interrupt me whenever you can or whenever you feel something going on about a video or about what I'm saying, that you have a comment or an expansion of the idea or feel conflicted with what I'm saying, but let's just talk together. Our first video was with Joseph Campbell. I hope you recognized him. Hope you recognize Joseph Campbell. He's the guy I quote all the time who says, "Follow your bliss." Here he's being interviewed by Bill Moyers, who is also a spiritual master. He was an ordained minister. He left that to become more of a seeker. And what an amazing, amazing man Bill Moyers was. And he and Joseph Campbell became really good friends. What Joseph Campbell says here is that eternity has nothing to do with time. And we have to actually get that old program of eternity being a long, long time out of our belief systems. Because eternity is not a long, long time. The only way to know eternity is to know the right now. And I hope you're still feeling your body. I hope as I'm talking, you're still right now feeling your body. That's the only reality. I'm not saying that your body is all that important, but when you're feeling your body, you're actually feeling yourself. Because without your body, as pure consciousness, you have no ability to feel anything. The only way as pure consciousness you can feel anything is to incorporate, to incarnate into a body, into a form. And now you're feeling that, but it's you, the spiritual eternal one that's feeling that. Our purpose in being here on this planet is to experience and express ourselves and thereby grow in wisdom and joy. What could possibly be the purpose of that? What purpose could possibly be solved by me experiencing and expressing myself? I mean, I'm inconsequential anyway. In the long term of things, there will be trillions of people and different life forms in all the different universes. What makes it? Who gives a damn whether I experience and express myself or whether I grow in wisdom and joy? What could possibly be the purpose of that? I'll give you a hint. It has nothing to do with what we've been raised to believe. It has to do with being here now. Now, what I'd like for us to do is discuss between us what that really means individually. Individually, what does it mean to experience and express yourself and thereby grow in wisdom and joy? And how does that work? And how does it stop being an intellectual process? How do we stop it from being an intellectual process? And to experience and express ourselves and thereby grow in wisdom and joy. If I'm just one of an unlimited number of incarnated beings, from ants to buffaloes, to people, to sharks, to tuna, to eagles, if I'm just one of trillions of incarnated beings, who gives a damn whether or not I experience and express myself or whether I grow in wisdom and joy? What difference does it make? It's my question.
Makes a difference for you.
Thank you.
And for those of us who know you and are around you and interact with you. I think everybody benefits.
Thank you.
I think you have to come from a place from your heart before your brain, before you intellectualize it. That you have to come from that heart chakra, that heart space. And by doing that, you're the only one that knows that feeling. It's like you're the only person, you're the only entity that has that experience on a heart level. And that's the contribution to the whole matrix. It's like, people can talk about facts, they can intellectualize things, they can talk about what they experienced, but the experience has to go through the expression, and it's the expression is the heart. That's the song. That's the glorification is through the heart, and only you are able to express it the way you're expressing it. I don't know if that makes sense or not. And so I guess this is the next step to that, is that in order for us to know that we're not just taking up space, so to speak, we have that expression is how we complete the whole.
That's beautiful, Mary. What comes to my mind is, how come some of us who are like-minded or walking parallel paths, we're constantly wanting to reach higher, do more, be more, and then there are other people who are quite content not to do any of that. and just be in a very sort of survival kind of mentality and not striving. So I don't know, to me, that's very perplexing that not everybody has some kind of a drive to be more, to learn more, to, I don't know. And then I see people who are quite content not to pursue anything. But are they contributing in one way, shape, or form, or they're just taking up space? I don't know.
It's a good question.
It's a really good question. It's a really good question.
My initial feeling or response would be that they serve us on some level. It's like, I think that it seems like we're not here with a preconceived notion as to what we're supposed to be. It's up to us to figure that out.
Mm.
And that's that sense of survival is just where they're at, and I don't know if it's up to us to judge it or not. It's like that's just where they're
Right.
at. And they serve us. um it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like you. It's like, well, wouldn't you want to be your personal best? Wouldn't you want to strive?
Right.
Wouldn't you want to uncover and learn more and be more? But um I think that maybe that's just where we are on our own evolutionary path, and that doesn't mean that that's where they are.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I also think that like I used to be a long distance runner, and if you run in a race, you start off the race with a, a large group of people around you, depending on what the race is, doesn't matter. Could be 500 people or it could be 25 people, but a whole bunch of you start off together. And at the end of the race, like 6 miles or 10 miles or 20 miles, however long the race is, it's that group is all scattered out from the front to the back. And the people at the back may not get across. Well, the front on a marathon, the people that get across the front of the line might get across the front of the line in 2 hours and 15 minutes. And the people in the back of the line might not get to the finish line for 4 hours. But they'll get there. But it might take them 4 hours. And as a runner, you have to ask yourself, or I did ask myself, what the hell? Why don't those people train? I mean, God, I go out and run 10 miles several days a week, and I'm working my butt off to get better speed, to keep my knees up, to hit the hills better. I'm doing this work so that I can be, if not in the front, at least respectfully up there with the rest of the group. And there's people up back there who are they stop and walk for a while, and then they trot for a while, then they walk for a while. Why don't they train? What's going on with them? But the truth of it is, and here's the basic bottom line truth, is that all of them are doing the best they can. And they cannot do any better than they're doing. And there's all kinds of elements that come to play in that. It's mental, it's my attitude, it's my past, my swamp, my subconscious mind, and all the voices that are telling me, you can do this, you can't do this, don't do this, oh my God, oh my God. It's my physical body that's saying, I'm hurting, I can't breathe, my heart's beating too hard, my knees hurt, my feet, God, there's something going on with my ankle. Why is it hurting? There's all these different things going on. And my self-identity, which has a certain number of self-doubts for every one of us. The the overall overreaching sky of our personal identity has some clouds in it. Those clouds are self-doubts. There are some self-doubts, and those people who self-doubts, boy, I can tell you, when I started running, my sky was clouded over. I was clouded over, and I was running with Navy SEALs, And one of them, Bill Hemming, used to run backwards. And he said, "You sound like a locomotive, Trask. You sound like you're dying there. Jesus Christ, man, is this the best you can?" And he was just goading me. And I was just sucking air. I was just barely able to. And I thought I was going to die. And he said, "Well, you're going to give up now. I suppose you're probably going to stop and give up." And, it would just, they just kept going on and on and on. And eventually I became a runner and a long distance runner. Now, what I recently found out is that I have a hole in my heart that precludes me from being able to be a fast long distance runner. I did the best I could. I didn't know I had a hole in my heart. I didn't know that this incredible fatigue that I was feeling had anything to do with it because I was training, I was doing my work. But what I know now, and in this conversation, I can tell you, is that everyone's running as fast as they can. All those people, like your brother, Mubina, they're doing the best they can. They're not doing what we think is a good job at all, but we can't see them and judge them from where we are. Now I'm going to go into a little different level. I want you to stay with me because the question in this what I was talking about here is this: what is the purpose? What is the purpose of us individually growing in wisdom and joy? What's the purpose? Wow, who gives a shit? Now you have to go out of your mind. I'm going to invite you to go out of your brain mind, get out of your mind, go into your higher mind, or go into your heart, or go somewhere where you're not have to analyze what I'm about to say. A hologram and holography is real. And the way a hologram works is that there's a hologram. And I don't know if you've ever seen one. The first time I ever saw one, we went to the Canadian Fair in Vancouver. And there was we went into this room and there was kind of a platform and there was a woman above the platform and she was talking. And you could walk all the way around her and see her from 365 degrees. She was there, but you could put your hand through her. She was like a ghost. She didn't really exist except as a hologram. Now, how they make that hologram is I'm going to just make this really simple. They shoot a light ray at a mirror and it splits. The light ray splits. One goes to a mirror, another one goes somewhere else, and then the two of those come back together. And in doing so, you get 360 degrees of a picture of someone. And the only reason I'm even talking about holograms is because in holography, what's important to know is that the smallest element contains the whole. The tiniest element of anything contains all of everything. And this universe is a hologram, which means the tiniest speck of dust that you will take from your finger off of a shelf, that tiny, almost microscopic speck of dust contains the entire universe. It is not a question of whether that's accurate. Don't even go there. I don't know about that. Don't do that. It is truth. It's absolute truth that the smallest element contains all of it, which means that you, experiencer and expressor, are all of it. Now stay with that for a minute. You are everything. You are the universe. You are God. You are consciousness. You are the creator. You are the creative force. You are the wisdom of the ages. You are all of it. All of it. Otherwise, you couldn't exist. Look at this Bob Trask. Look at this. He's got cells. All these cells, they're disappearing and reappearing, disappearing. Look at these eyes and his hair. Look at this guy. He's been here for 87 years. And here's these hands. Look at this. How can this possibly be? Because he's being constantly renewed by this precious power that he is. And I am all of it. I am the universe. I am God. I am everything. I am. And so are you. And so when you experience and express, The whole universe is feeling the experience in the expression. The whole entire universe is growing in wisdom and joy. Your expression of wisdom and joy is the universal expression of wisdom and joy. There's no there's no there's no other thing. You are all of it. You are all of it. And stay with me now. So is an ant crawling up the trunk of a tree. Now that ant doesn't have the consciousness, or I could say it probably is more conscious than we are, but it doesn't have the brain mind to analyze and look at things and think things through and figure things out. It just is. It just totally is. It doesn't have any fear. It just is. And it is the universe, and it's experiencing. It goes out and finds this crumb of bread, and it can't carry it all, so it goes back and gets its friends, and they all come back, and they either break it up in pieces and carry pieces off, or they all carry the whole thing off. But so it's experiencing and it's expressing, and it's just doing it automatically. But the universe is, to the degree that we allow it, is automatic. Your cells are automatically replacing themselves. You're automatically overcoming illnesses and viruses. This is automatic. The universe is automatically taking care of you, and you are all of it. And so is the tree, and the eagle, and the whale. And to the degree that we allow ourselves to be there, stay with me. We are all of them. We are the eagle and the tree and the whale. We are all of them. But you can't do that when you're just intellectualizing it. You have to be able to know yourself as eternity. And as Joseph Campbell just got through saying, eternity has nothing to do with time. It has nothing to do with time. Eternity is right here, right now, and it's you right here, right now, feeling your body, feeling your reality right now, feeling your reality right now, right as I'm talking, right now, feeling your reality, feeling the reality that you are, your body, your thoughts, your feelings. Be with your feeling. Be with your feeling right now. And when you feel, that's experience. Feelings are sacred, 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 sacred. And what Rick's been going through with the loss of his beloved Sterling, and what you've been going through for your whole lives, being isolated, and what Mary was going through was a child with being oppressed in her growing up years. All of those were feelings, and they needed to be expressed and expressed properly. Now, what do I mean by properly? Do I mean politely? No, fuck, I don't mean politely. I mean properly. I mean expressed as they are. If I hit my thumb with a hammer and I feel like saying God damn it, do I say, oh shucks? Well, then I didn't express it. I had an experience, but I didn't express it. God damn it. Son of a bitch, that hurts. I've got to express my experience, express it. Cry, sob, wail, scream, cry, express it. Beat on a pillow, do something, but you need to express your experience. And the expression expands you so that you then can experience more and express more. And to the degree that you shut it down, you cannot then experience more and express more. Why would you want to experience more and express more? Because you're called to. You're called. Your calling comes from the Latin word vocare, which means to call. And that's where the word vocation comes from. It's supposed to be a calling, not a have to. And you're being called from within to express and experience more and more. You go to a movie and something awful happens and you feel like sobbing, sob. I've been in movies where I was sobbing and Mary's sitting beside me holding me as I'm sobbing. Just you've got to just let yourself be who you are. Be who you came here to be. And stop avoiding. And when I see that, it sounds accusatory, and I don't mean it that way. I mean, I do the same thing. We need to stop avoiding. You are a precious, eternal being. You are right now at the center of the universe. You are the one who was chosen. You are the one who came. You are the Christ. You are the Buddha. You are the one. And you keep fucking around with all of these, oh, well, but I don't think I can do this. I don't know about. Don't just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop. You have not only a right, but a duty to be you, to be you.
Who's the duty to?
Good question. Really, really excellent question. How would you answer it?
To myself.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the question and thank you for the answer. And that's self with a capital S, incidentally. That's not this self, it's that self, my greater self.
This is kind of a little bit of a side note, but when you were talking about the ant and problem solving, I just finished reading a book about octopuses, which it seems weird to say octopuses instead of octopi, but octopuses is correct. And um, and what they found was, they have so many more brains than we have, and I mean there's all of these things that they never knew. And while reading it, what really occurred to me was we we're judging everything from our own perspective, and Rick as a scientist would certainly know this to be true. It's like we only know what we know, and we can guess, we can do research or whatever, but we come upon these conclusions and we base them on what knowledge we have, and we don't enter the animal world at all. It's like, for to know how smart an octopus is, I mean, they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. And yet, we've always just thought that they were this thing with a bunch of suckers and they just kind of crawl along the ocean floor. And, and they're dispensable, eat them, do whatever, make them into some kind of medicinal thing. But they're really, really brilliant. And if we judge them from an octopus viewpoint, it's totally different than us as a human looking at. I think that that's how righteous we are as humans. It's like we think that we know everything. We think that we've gathered the information, that we've had the experience, and so that means that everybody else is going to be judged based on that experience. But that doesn't work for the animal world at all. It's like we have to look at it. Well, we can't look at it from their perspective because we don't have the ability to do it. But they're really, really smart. Anyway, just wanted to throw that in for the mix. Put that in the soup.
Do you think it's possible that if we rise out of our just our brain minds and rise into consciousness, that we can actually feel and know the oneness of an octopus?
I totally believe that because we're free of judgment. When we're at that place, we're completely free of judgment, and there's no proving, there's no right or wrong. There's just a complete acceptance of what is. And so we would be able to totally recognize their brilliance.
And if we're totally one with what is and totally accepting what is, then are we not the universe?
Yes.
And so I was fishing with my uncle, who's right-wing MAGA, as all my family are, but he was really a hard-ass, tough guy. And we were out on my little boat and we were fishing for halibut. And he got something on his line and he was pulling it up and it was really heavy. And we got it up to the surface and it was an octopus, a North Pacific octopus. And its tentacles probably would have reached more than 10 feet across. It was huge, huge, huge. Its head was bigger than my head, it was huge. And we got it up on the boat and I'm trying to get the hook out of it, but I don't want to get, because they've got a beak and I don't want to get my fingers chopped off. So I'm trying to get this. But I've got this sucker on the back of my head and another one on my face. But I finally got the hook out, and he's got this thing is because he's all over the boat. He's got two of our tackle boxes over here, and and I said, okay, we're going to get him back over the side, Uncle Vince, but don't let him take anything with him. So we're scrambling around trying to pull our tackle boxes and everything back off. So then he goes over the side, and he went over the side and swam down away. But I never forgot that feeling of that being in the boat with us. I never will forget the feeling of that.
You're really lucky. I mean, he could have easily pulled you overboard.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
their power per sucker is like, I don't remember what the ratio is, but it's like each sucker has the ability to like pull like 400 pounds or some insane amount. I mean, he could have easily taken you guys overboard, not just the tackle boxes.
And the truth of it is that if he weren't a conscious being, he probably would have done that. But he is a conscious being.
Do you think that
Knows.
did the hook hurt him? I mean,
No, no.
would he have healed from the hook?
Oh yeah, yeah. It just was in the corner of his whatever you call his mouth, and I just was able to pop it out, and yeah, it was no worse than you'd get a vaccination. Just stick yourself with a needle. It was just a nothing thing. But he knew, not thought, because I don't think they think. He knew where he was. He knew who I was. I don't know if he knew who Uncle Vince was, but he probably did. It's kind of a wonder he didn't take Uncle Vince back down with him. But he
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 didn't want to contaminate the ocean.
he he was he was he was he was totally aware. I could
They
feel his
totally,
aware. I could
but
feel his awareness.
they do think though. I mean, they absolutely think they can like they camouflage themselves. They can change patterns. They change their color to present themselves as something that a predator would not want. I mean,
Yeah.
they absolutely think.
And he didn't fight me. He did not fight me at all. I mean, I knew what I was doing. He seemed to know what I was doing. There was no contest there. And he wasn't like trying to get back in the water before I got the hook out. He got the hook out and then he went back. But I just felt his presence. It was just a wonderful thing. And I feel so honored. Okay, let me wander on here with my outline that I created for us today. In the second video, which is one of my favorites of all time, we see that the odds of us being here at all, the odds against you even existing, are 10 to the power of 2,685,000, which is greater than the numbers of the particles in the known universe. That's incredible. Those are the odds against you even being here. Now, what does that mean? That means that if we look at physical reality, you can't be here. You can't be here. But if we don't consider particles in the known universe or physical reality, which inhabits endless space, space doesn't truly exist, and particles don't truly exist. And then we look at you being here in a brand new way. So let me say that again. if we look at your body and we recognize that your body is made up of waves and particles which have no physical matter at all until they're observed. So they're just your body is just made up of particles and waves that are just floating through you and going in and out of you. And physically you don't really exist. But so when we look at that, then we realize that non-physical being that you are, that you can feel, touch, look, see, you can hear my voice, that feels real, that non-physical being that we're holding together, we're holding it together in this incarnation so that we can experience and express ourselves, because that's why because that's the reality. Consciousness is not some vacant, isolated spiritual cloud somewhere in the distant galaxies. Consciousness is creation. It isn't alive anywhere except in creation. It's only alive in creation, and it's creating your body and my body right now. It's creating it. That's consciousness. So those particles or waves that are moving through us, it's a purpose. The consciousness of the universe is doing that, and we are doing that. We are the consciousness of the universe. So we are also creating this individual body so that we can experience and express and thereby grow. But there's no chance at all, no chance at all that you could exist. No chance. I know it's hard to think about that and it's hard to talk about that because words just don't, words are just words. And we could maybe express this better in music or in art, but in words it's really difficult because we're trying to bring that incredibly beautiful abstract reality down and transfer it into words so that we can hear each other and begin to come into more of a wealth of understanding about where each of us is in this process. But let me go back over that just for a minute. We have to know that the odds against us are 10 to the power of 2,685,000. That number would wrap around the world. It's the incredible number. So you can't exist. That means you don't exist except as consciousness, pure consciousness. Now, if pure consciousness is all, is everything, is eternal, is unlimited, there's no time or space that contains it. It's unlimited, unlimited, unlimited. Then for you to create, for consciousness as you to create Mubina or Rick or Mary or Bob, that's no big deal. We just create that. What we can come through our brains and say, well, the chances of that being true are infinitely impossible. Well, who gives a shit? Who cares? Excuse me, who cares if it's impossible? Just lost my voice. Who cares if that's impossible? Doesn't matter if it's impossible. What matters is that it's true. And because it's true, it gives us the proof that we don't physically exist. It proves it. So I want us to discuss that a little bit, because it's not okay for me to just sit here and blab and to not have you talk about your feeling about this or your experience of this. So I'm going to shut up and listen.
Well, while you were talking, a memory that came back to me was when I was quite young. And I remember I had a hard time sleeping. This grandfather clock in the dining room kept waking me up with its chimes. But anyway, I used to ask and reflect on a lot of questions about life, even though I was just young, like 7, 8 years old. Um, and I remember having this feeling sometimes I'm alive. Like I have life. It's hard to put into words, but it's like I'm alive. It was just as simple as that. Like I have a life. And it was like just magical. No, not complicated, but just somehow I think I was tapping into, tuning into the miracle of existence. And I remember thinking that many times. And I would think, well, I am I going to live a good enough life so that I don't end up in the fires of hell. Then I used to think that those thoughts as well. But anyway, this other part was more positive and inspiring. Yeah.
Well, the odds of us being here are, I mean, if we go back and calculate all of our ancestors, and we have no idea the number of generations behind each of us. Um, and, and if one of those hadn't shown up, then we wouldn't be here. But they did show up, and we are here. So I mean, it's highly improbable, and yet mm, here we are as these complex beings with minds, with um, access, if not generators of consciousness. Um, so I don't, I'm not comfortable saying that it is impossible that we're here, but for each of us, and you go back, and if one of our grandparents wasn't there, we wouldn't be here, and great and great and great and great and all the way back to where we were. I don't know, some primitive being. I'm astounded by all of that, um, and appreciative of all of that we are here, such as we are.
Thank you, my brother.
To me, it's like somebody carrying a torch or somebody carrying a baton, to the next person, generation to generation. And it's like each person has to carry their part of it in order for the next person to be able to continue their part. And I visually see that, as that way, um, which for me makes me feel like it's even more important for me to bring the very best of myself to that next person, to pass on the baton. It's like that thing of personal excellence. It's like Mubina said, like I'm alive. It's like, like this is like the miracle of life. This is really something incredible. It's very special. And I think it's important not to really take it for granted because it is, as Rick said, near impossible, if not impossible. And because of that, it makes our presence even more precious. It makes me feel like I have a duty and a privilege to make sure that whatever I do at the very best of my ability and to be the best Mary that I can possibly be. And not just for myself and my own fulfillment, but because that's going to be passed on. Either whether it be passed on through a genetic link or just through just the cosmos, just the energy, just the intention, the grace that I bring into it. It's like I've got to make sure that it's purified.
When you go into that into that beautiful space that I'm hoping you guys are in right now, into your higher mind and into the great eternity that is here as now. When you're in that space, um, then you're always being the very best Mary you can be. Always. When you're not in that space, then you have to intellectually figure out how to be the best Bob or Mary or Mubin or Rick that you can be. But when you're being who you truly are as a spiritual being, creating a physical body, not a physical body creating a spiritual reality, but a spiritual reality creating a physical. When you're in that space, then you're always being conscious. You're always being conscious, which means you're being the best you can be. And then those people that Mubin asked about earlier, then those people who are stumbling, they just don't have a lot like you grew up in a Muslim, very restrictive Muslim background. Mary and I grew up in very restrictive Catholic backgrounds, and they're really very little difference in that they're both punitive. They punish, 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 total punishment, guilt, shame, punishment, subservience, subservience. You don't matter. You're nothing. You're nobody. Constant reminder of that through my fault, through my fault, through my most grievous fault. Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come to me. And they just like all that stuff just loaded on over and over again, which adheres you to the church or adheres you to the temple, adheres you to their way of doing things. When we break out of that, there are some tendrils of that left over that reach out and attach to us once in a while, and we just have to be aware of those tendrils and just say, oh, there's that again. There's that old Catholic guilt coming back. There's that old shame coming back. And just acknowledge it and look at it and just let it go. Just go into a higher mind. I am so lucky in that I have the ability to go above the top of my head into my higher mind. And I know that over the years, I know that that's not practiced by many people, but I wish it was, because when you go there, then all thinking stops and you're just being one. And so it's it's a place we could go, but if you can't, you at least need to go into your heart. And in your heart, there's a oneness with the universe and a oneness with consciousness. And you don't deliberate or think about, you just be one with. The third video says that we have to consider whether we can even connect with true reality. In fact, this video shows, excuse me, so sorry. This video shows pretty clearly that our own reality is very different than whatever true reality exists outside of us. As Lisa Feldman Barrett said, and I think she did a really good job as a narrator, and incidentally, Lisa Feldman Barrett is with a laboratory that studies psychology and brain mind, and they do and have for many, 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 many years done extensive tests and come up with amazing results. But she says that the brain, which tells us about reality, has no direct experience of reality. And we know that. But let's look at that more closely. It's a computer that's locked in a tiny, dark room, sealed room, no doors, no windows, tiny, tiny little place called your skull. And it's getting messages sent in through the five senses, through these nerves that come into the room. And they're just senses. And there's no words. It doesn't come in with words. It doesn't come in with pictures. There's not a there's not a there's not a photo link or a video link coming in here. It's just they're just neurological impulses that come in through the five senses. And then the brain interprets them to tell us what reality is. When we see a bird, for instance, sitting on a branch, we see that bird, and the bird goes cheep, 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 and we look at it, and it's got kind of a soft gray and brown body, and when it turns a little bit, you can see that there's a little bit of red right at its throat, and it's a real pretty bird. It's got a nice little sound, and the branch it's sitting on is a real pretty branch, and there's some nice leaves and maybe even a blossom in the tree, and it's a really nice scene. And we're sending that through our eyes into our brain, and our brain's not seeing any of this. The brain's just getting these nerve impulses. And from that, it's telling us what the picture is. It's telling us what the picture is. We're not seeing the picture. The brain's telling us what the picture is. Actually, this might be our most important point today.
Mhm.
I'm going to make my talk on this on Sunday, is that since our brain has no true connection to our outside world, it builds a pattern of reality, and that pattern becomes what and who we think we are. I'm going to say that again. I've got it written down. The brain is building a pattern of reality that becomes who and what we think we are. In other words, what we think we're seeing when we look at the mountain is ourselves. It simply can't be any other way. When I look at the mountain, I'm looking in a mirror, I'm seeing myself. All of my past, all of my memories, all of my stuff tell me that, so they're all built up in my subconscious mind, and they tell me who I am. Is that who I am? Well, of course not. It's of course not. It's a huge library of memories. It's not who I am. But it's made up of all of those impulses that came into my brain through all of these five senses. Beautiful, beautiful program. Oh my God. Such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful program. All these five senses coming into the brain, and then the brain, marvelous, marvelous organ, is converting those into impulses that we think we see, and we think we hear, and we think we taste, we think we touch, and we think we smell, and none of those things are true. We're not seeing that reality. As we grow through life and accumulate more and more and more and more memories and judgments, and a lot of those self-judgments, what happens is that the impulses that come in through our sight, hearing, smell, touch, feeling, those impulses that come in, they get interpreted by our brain relative to our memories, relative to our subconscious mind, relative to who we think we are. It's not who we are, but it's who we've learned to be. And so when I look at the mountain, I'm seeing not the mountain. I'm seeing the reflection of what I think a mountain is compared to all of what I've seen. And am I seeing those trees? Yes. Am I seeing that snow slope? Yes. Am I seeing that glacier up there? Yes. Am I seeing that meadow? Yes. Am I seeing all that? Yes, I'm actually seeing all of that. I'm all seeing all that. But those visual impulses are going in my brain and being translated into something that tells me what I'm seeing. And some people, Mary and I had a friend who's passed on now, but he was a friend in Missouri, and his wife said, "Well, I'm going to go out west And he said, "Why are you going to go out west?" She said, "Well, because it's beautiful and they've got beautiful high mountains." And he said this, he said, "Once you've seen one mountain, you've seen them all." And in a way, that's true because we get an image in our mind of what a mountain is and we don't see it anymore. I talk constantly to people about looking at trees, but they still don't look at trees. Maybe they do look at trees, but they don't see them. If you would take a chair and go sit in front of a tree for an hour and don't look anywhere except at the tree will eventually start talking to you. Eventually, you'd start seeing the tree. I had a group of guys that took guys, say guys, women and men, and some younger ones on a hike in through the California mountains, and we were hiking along, and I said, I want everybody and it was a pretty wide trail, pretty wide path. I want everybody to stop where you are right now and take off your pack, and I want you to sit down on the ground. Everybody did, and I said, I want you to take your finger or a stick, and I want you to draw a square one one foot, 12 inches by 12 inches, a square foot on the ground. Now, for the next half hour, for the next 30 minutes, which is eternity, don't look anywhere except in that square. Only look in that square. I'm not asking you to see anything. I'm not asking you to realize anything. I'm just asking you to shut your mind down, shut your thinking down, and just look into the square until you see it, till you see it. Well, it probably took about 15 or 20 minutes before their minds started chattering and they started wondering, what am I doing here? And my foot hurts and this is an awkward position for me to sit and there's nothing here. And then they finally started looking and seeing. Years later, people that were on that check said, one of the greatest experiences I had in my life was looking at that square foot on the ground. It changed their lives. We are part of nature, which is consciousness. Nature is consciousness. That tree is consciousness. The river, the wind, the breeze, the smell, the flowers, it's consciousness. It is the living God. Somebody said, "Oh, I want to know if there is a God. Oh, I want to get a sign." You got a sign. It's all around you. But we have to be willing to we have to be willing to know that what we're looking at with our eyes and with our brain are being translated into what we believe we see. It's what I believe I see. It's what I believe is there. It's what I believe. It isn't truth. It's just what I believe. And to get beyond that, you have to take the time to move outside of your subconscious mind and look, really look.
I really loved this video, and the idea of the brain just being in a box, called the skull, and not having seen any of it. It gave me such a profound moment, of realization of, like, I'm putting all of this belief system into this thing that has had no personal experience. I mean, it was just, I don't know, it really kind of tripped me out. And I thought it was pretty profound. I really liked it. And it also made me think about AI and how it's kind of the same thing. It's like, we feed information into this artificial intelligence, and then it then is able to expound on all of these different areas and able to function, but it hasn't had any personal experience either, and it has no emotion either. Only what we can give it, which is very limited. I mean, it can't feel it. It doesn't feel any of it. It just expounds information. And so anyway, I drew that parallel with AI.
Rick, you've spent most of your life looking at the neurology of the brain and of all these different impulses coming into the brain through the various nerves, and the brain then doing what it does in terms of outgoing. And it isn't just when I talk about the five senses, it's the five senses, but it's expanded way beyond what we think of that, because the body itself is sending messages from all over the body constantly to the brain, and the brain is responding to all of that.
Uh, True that, and the brain is sort of sequestered away in a box, um, and it gets a lot of input from the sensory nerves from I mean, and we have internal nerves that are monitoring uh, glucose levels and oxygen levels and a bunch of other things, and the brain, which is one of my favorite parts of the universe, uh, pieces all these things together, and it creates takes this input and this input, and it's got a a, a huge memory bank of previous experiences that it can pair. And I'm looking out my window now, and there's a ficus tree here, and a bunch of eucalyptus trees there, and a couple of sycamores. Um, and I can compare those to all the conifers that I've seen in the Northwest, all the maple trees I've seen in the Midwest. And it does all these things, and it sorts out and it creates my view of reality. What is real, I'm not sure, but um, what I am creating inside my skull is an approximation to reality, I think.
Thank you. I'm wondering something. I have a question I want to ask you, Dr. Richardson or Dr. Robertson. I have a question I want to ask you, and I hope that you will contemplate this and give me an answer. As I do meditation and going into my higher mind and thinking about or contemplating the stuff that we're getting from these videos and in these classes, here's the question. Can I teach my brain to look for consciousness, that invisible master creator? Can I do that?
Good question.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I have an answer because for our brain to understand consciousness, it would have to have some sort of a feedback of consciousness. Now, we've been sort of limiting ourselves to neural input from the optic nerve, from the olfactory nerve, from the trigeminal nerve, from the auditory nerve, yada yada. And is is there a part of me? Is there a part of you that is um, not biological, but sort of super biological or metabiological. That can we pick up things in the world around us through avenues other than the biological? And I like to think we are, because I think that's I would like to think that each of us has a soul, and by a soul I mean um, an aspect of me that is linked to a broader consciousness that is not conveyed to me via nervous impulses. Maybe I'm a dreamer. Maybe that's my hope. Maybe, but I mean, we've wrestled around for many, many years with the idea of spirituality and religion, and we've asked ourselves, is there more to us when these body die, and when my skull dies, and when my brain dies? Is there something about me that remains and goes on? I would like to think so, and I think that that would be my soul, and I think that would be um, linking up with a larger um, spiritual spiritual consciousness. But at this level of existence, it's hard to get a handle on that.
It seems that people who have had near-death experiences have experienced what you're talking about.
That is one of the greatest sources, I think, and for those of you who have read any work by Edgar Cayce and other, who has interviewed hundreds, thousands of people who have had near-death experiences, and when their self dies, then they have an awareness. Um, and I find that pretty impressive.
Mhm.
Because
Those
my wife
awareness,
had one of those.
those awarenesses are actually expanded
Yeah,
awarenesses.
yeah, yeah.
One of the things that she said in the video was about how imagination um, can create trouble staying in the now. And I thought that that was kind of an interesting concept, because when we're imagining something, we're not really present in the now. We're kind of
Yeah,
futuristically thinking.
Yeah.
I thought it was just an interesting
yeah,
aspect.
yeah. And the question is are those ideas, are those thoughts, is that consciousness coming from within us, or are these things that are sort of passing through that when we let our brains guard down a bit, I mean, the analogy people use is are our brains like a TV set where there's all these waves of going around and coming through that you would never notice unless you tune into to something going through, and then you're aware. Um,
Well, the physicists are in often in disagreement about whether consciousness is creating the brain or whether the brain is creating consciousness. And some of the original founders, the original scientists like Bohr's and some of those guys all said that in their I mean highly genius, I mean off the chart IQs and education and background in science and study of quantum reality. Well, they were all saying the same thing, that there's a great I want to call it consciousness. I don't think they use that word. There's a great consciousness that exists that we are tuning into rather than us creating that from our brains. We're being created by that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just briefly go back to the beginning of our session today when we talked about that you are a unique individual and the chances of you even existing are so minute that it's just seems almost impossible that you could be here. And then you are here. And you are here in a physical body, which is changing, which is growing and dissolving and recreating itself constantly. For us to be able to look at that objectively, just objectively, no dog in the fight, no horse in the race, just look at it objectively. There's the body right there, there's that body right there. And that body's being recreated constantly by some outward force, who knows what. And its cells are dying. We don't see where the hell they are. I mean, you're losing billions of cells. We should see them on the floor or someplace, but they're just gone. And there's billions of new cells coming in. And when you have an attitude, a certain attitude, then those new cells are more robust than the cells that they're replacing. So we look at all of that, and we just look at if that person standing there, we look at that body. It's pretty hard to believe that that's a one-off accidental something that just happened. It's just pretty darn hard to believe that. It's got to be part of a greater pit system. I'll leave you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with me and for teaching me today because I learned a lot. And I will send you the video and next week's homework probably later this afternoon.
Mubina, have a wonderful birthday. I'm so glad that you came into our lives.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad that I am a part of your lives. Thank you so much. And we will be meeting soon. I actually just got a message from Barbara.
Well, good.
So Barbara's definitely coming,
Oh,
and
good.
Judith is coming.
Oh, wow.
Joanne is not.
She is
But
not.
yeah, I didn't think she would.
I didn't
But the
either.
three of us, so I think they're going to meet at my place and then I'll drive. I don't know. I just quickly saw that she sent it to me, but looks like, yeah, that'll just be in a couple of weeks' time.
So,
Good.
Rick, what's
Good.
happening is that Manny and Paul have invited. They're back from Arizona. They're back into their Chuckanut Drive, beautiful home in Bellingham, and they have invited. They said, "Well, let's bring our Canadian people down and let's just have a fun day of hiking and just messing about." And then we're going to have dinner. She's fixing a Persian dinner at her house, and so if you decide you want to fly up and be part of it, it's
Hey.
June. Is it Monday the 15th? Is it Monday the
Yeah,
15th?
it's Monday the
Yeah,
15th. Yeah.
Monday the 15th. So we're going to do that. We're meeting at noon. So if you want to be a part of it, you're welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, so that's going to be exciting because we haven't seen each other
I'm
in a
looking.
long time.
No,
Yeah,
I
in
know.
person, I mean.
And remind me that we want to give you. We still have a package of LifeWave that we never used, and we have it with your name on it. So
Oh,
remind
is
me to
that
give
right?
that to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Remind me to do that.
So yeah, we'll connect before then because I'm thinking that if Judith drives, she has a car, right? I think if she
Mhm.
and just quickly Barbara drive to me, we may be able to leave earlier.
Okay.
Good. Good.
And then we'll let you know. I will
Yeah.
feel more comfortable coming to you, and then we go together to Manny and Paul's from
Okay.
there.
All
Because we
right.
would fit five of us, right, in your vehicle?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so that would work. So anyway, we'll connect closer to the time, but just wanted
Okay.
to let you know. Yeah,
Good.
Yeah. We can decide whatever works for you guys.
yeah.
Love
Sounds
you,
good.
Rick. Take care of yourself. Get well.
Mi hermano, tú es en mi corazón todo tiempo. En mi
Oh wow.
corazón.
We need
Muchas
you, Rick.
gracias, amigo.
We need you. We need you
Yeah.
in our lives.
Yeah, take good care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.